This video is brought to you by Connext. Connext is a cross-chain protocol that lets you build cross-chain applications and experiences in a secure way. Rob and I really enjoyed their tech because they don't add any new security assumptions on top of the connected chains, as they don't rely on an external validator set or an oracle. Security is definitely paramount in DeFi, so we're excited to work with Connext. Hope you enjoy this video. What's going on, guys? I'm here today with John, the founder of Aleph.im. John, first day of ETHCC. It's actually my first interview here today. Feels great to be back. Truly, it's a magical experience being in Paris and being at ETHCC. This year is huge. How are you feeling? Day one. How's everything going?
Well, it's pretty great. Like all the venues are packed. There is a lot of people and a lot of builders actually, which is really great. Like we feel that it's the center of the future of France.
Literally the future of France. Here we are. Yeah, and I mean what we've been building in DeFi for the past couple of years is trying to build this new system of finance, and we really came quite a long way. So before we jump into that, I'd just love to hear a bit about your background, how you got involved, and kind of the beginning of Aleph.im.
Well, at start, I'm mostly a developer. So I was trying to dip my toes into Web3, which wasn't called Web3 back then, more like into crypto and stuff like that. And I was going, and it was mostly about money, but there wasn't only money. We needed to de-silo the web, and that's what decentralization should be about. And when I started to try to do big application like let's say a decentralized Twitter, I couldn't, because we needed some kind of better tool set. And that's how Aleph.im was born. I have been doing consulting for bigger banks, for IoT stuff in the past. So I'm mostly a developer and also an entrepreneur, because I started a few startups before crypto as well.
Interesting. Yeah, it's always interesting to me to hear from different backgrounds about how folks got into DeFi. There's tons of different technological backgrounds. There's folks from TradFi, early adopters of crypto, overall just entrepreneurs and builders. So great to hear that your background is quite well-rounded. Now to kind of the pressing problem that we're facing in DeFi. And don't get me wrong here, I'm not trying to make it seem like we haven't accomplished quite a bit in DeFi, but the D in DeFi is we're still missing that kind of ultimate decentralization aspect, right? There's always a question of how decentralized can you really get? There's always a limit to this type of thing, and I feel like right now with the infrastructure stack, that's kind of a big bottleneck for the decentralization of the current DeFi. So what is walk us through kind of your mental model for the infrastructural stack currently in DeFi, some of the problems that we're facing that kind of are a choke point for the decentralization aspect?
Well, we are trying to use the web, which is something that hasn't been designed for that, to use it in a decentralized way. I mean, it has been designed to be decentralized, but lately we have had a lot of silos like AWS, Google Cloud, etc. Everyone uses the cloud. Well, the cloud seems decentralized because you have data centers all around the world, but it's all under the control of a few specific entities. And if your DeFi project runs on AWS, well, AWS can cut it down whenever they want, or they can get an order to do so, or they could get an order to change the files that are being served to the users, which is really problematic for decentralization. So you can't really say that the protocol is totally decentralized if all the backend, all the website that you use to interact with it is served by centralized servers or a centralized cloud.
Yeah, and that's kind of the key infrastructural part, right? Because as you're saying, the internet as a whole, it hasn't been designed to be a transactional layer for any type of decentralized kind of financial or monetary primitives. It's really just been like an informational packets of data, right? And so now we put these applications online where there's a lot of money at stake, and you're still reliant on AWS, as you're saying, or different types of cloud providers. So do you feel that this is kind of one of the most important challenges that the overall DeFi ecosystem is facing right now?
Yeah, well, I think so, because if someone can have a direct control on your DeFi project, okay, you might have a DAO for like all the fund and smart contract, but if your front end, there is people who have SSH keys into the servers and can change it, that's problematic. Same in like a lot of cases, if there are humans that have direct access to it, then it's not decentralized. You would need your DAO to be able to like directly set what the front end is. You need to have your DAO to be in charge of your infrastructure. And that's where there is a blocking point, because the way the centralized web is done is that you need to have access to one server. It can be on the cloud, it can be in your basement if you want it, but it's still one computer.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I totally agree. I think this is something that on the infrastructure layer, we're going to start to see a lot more teams, build and try to create solutions to this problem, because it seems like it's only a matter of time until we actually have a serious issue with this. And, as an entire community, we want to be able to be ahead of that. And so that's kind of what you guys are building now. So kind of walk me through how you feel Aleph.im is a solution to this overarching problem. What kind of infrastructural tooling are you guys building? And what's the thesis for the overall project?
Well, as I said, I was trying to like build a bigger application, and I couldn't. So what was lacking? We needed storage, like in file storage, because you need to be able to like serve statics for your application, but not only. Most websites are databases. So like Aleph.im also provides a decentralized database akin to Firebase for those who know what it is. And then we now also offer computing, serverless computing, a bit like what Amazon Lambda provides, but in a decentralized way. When you access a website, it will find one server on the Aleph.im network that will answer, and then this server will launch a virtual machine, launch your code, then get your result back. What we will also release in the coming days are the instances, which are quite interesting because you can have direct access to one instance with an SSH key and then put whatever code you want inside. The good part is that you can also create it with specific code from a DAO if you wanted, as I was saying. And we will also have confidential computing coming later this year, meaning that those VMs will be able to hold private keys in a really secure way. This way, you could have your oracles or whatever running on the Aleph.im network, writing on-chain, and no one could see what is happening. And also, it can be proven that the code that is running is really the one that you want to be running. And with all that, we have all the pieces to be able to replace AWS for the backend of DeFi projects. So that DeFi project can say, yes, we are really decentralized. Our backend, our databases or whatever we are using is really decentralized. Our front end is really decentralized. And like, here is how, and here are all the cryptographical proofs.
Yeah, so some sort of combination within IPFS front end, which we've seen on a lot of DeFi apps nowadays. When you click on the button that says go to app, there's often a pop-up that says you are now leaving, this website. You're going to an IPFS-based site. And, there's regulatory reasons behind that, but there's also data and kind of decentralization reasons. And then on top of that, you can have Aleph.im running in the back end, and that's about as decentralized of an infrastructure stack as we can get. Now, with Aleph.im, is it compatible with EVM dApps? Is it compatible with other layer 1 dApps? What's the kind of interoperability and compatibility for integrations look like on your side?
Well, on our network, we accept messages like every kind of action on the network is a message. Just like there are transactions on Ethereum, we have messages. Our messages are like database entries, request to like store data, request to forget data, which is important due to regulatory reasons, notably in Europe with GDPR. You can also create a virtual machine, launch a process. All that are messages. Those messages can either come from on-chain, from our contracts. We call that a reverse oracle because our network looks at Ethereum and creates a message on the network, or signed by a private key directly. And for that, we support addresses of like all EVM chains. The reverse oracles are deployed on Ethereum mainnet, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon now, and a few others. We also support Tezos, and we have that reverse oracle on Tezos. We support all Cosmos SDK chain, all Polkadot substrate chains. We also support Solana and many others.
Yeah, so totally agnostic with your preferences, which allows you to really scale and kind of build something that isn't a maximalist focused. And this conversation is really bringing me back to a podcast that we just had with Brian from Layer Zero Labs. They do omni-chain messaging. Not exactly the same as what you guys are doing, but when you describe how the transactions and blockchain works of Aleph.im, it's hard for me not to bring that kind of comparison and just that same thought process of not caring where your infrastructure is being deployed, but just knowing that your infrastructure is decentralized, it's trustless, it's censorship resistant, and it can improve the decentralization of any one of these chains or dApps built on these chains. That's how you kind of reach that larger scale vision of being able to be that kind of, let's say, decentralized infrastructure for a true decentralized DeFi. Now, as far as the A0 token goes, does the staking of that token or any tokenomics help to secure the storage of the network, of the data of the network? Kind of how does that play into the to the current picture?
Well, so our token is the Aleph token. A0 is from Aleph0, which is...
my apologies.
No worries. Which is a layer 1. So like the Aleph token, there is multiple utilities to it. The main utility is to pay for storage and computing. Currently, you just hold Aleph tokens to get storage and computing. What we will have down the line later this year or early next year will be that you'll be able to spend those tokens as well if you prefer. And I continuously stream tokens to like your hardware.
Yeah. Alpha. That's alpha, guys.
And then when you provide computers, like, because you can have one in your basement, you could pay 𝗍𝗶𝗃𝗁, Scaleway, AWS, whoever you want, and then host Aleph nodes and get paid. So for that, we have multiple kind of node. The first one, which are the core channel node, which are akin to validators on our systems, where you need to hold 200,000 Aleph to create it, and then have 500,000 Aleph staked on it for it to start. And then the stakers gain tokens because they are the ones that are controlling all the controllers of the network, because the core channel node are those that are in charge of controlling the network, verifying that everyone is doing their job, and managing the database of messages as well. And then we have the computing resource nodes, which are doing the actual work of computing, like running all those virtual machines, etc. Currently, it's CPU, but there will be GPU support as well down the line. And then we also have the storage resource nodes that are also coming in not that long. And those storage nodes will mostly provide file storage. Like currently, we already have file storage, but it's on the other node, and we'll have specific kind of node for that. And then if you run a computing resource node, core channel node need to vouch for you, and then you start getting paid.
Interesting. So different incentive designs that allow the network to run in the most efficient manner possible, while also keeping the community and the holders engaged, earning rewards, and a part of the broader community. And that's one thing that I've actually noticed big time with the Aleph.im community and the Aleph0 is that it's massive. On Twitter, it's huge. In Telegram, it's huge. On Discord, there's this kind of energy and this community that is fostered. What can you kind of comment on how the marketing and the community leads, you know, have built, and you know, what kind of words can you give to the community who are watching?
Well, honestly, we really love our community. People are really active. They are talking a lot about what we are doing, etc. We have a lot of node owners in the community, node operators as well. And well, I am really happy to like have them all. And we are always searching for new node operators, new community members, talking about the project, etc.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely noticed it. So you guys are doing something right there, and keep making the noise. And I appreciate the alpha as well, guys. You guys got some good roadmap items coming up for our community as well. And I guess last but not least, where can our community find you, and also find the broader Aleph community?
Well, you can find us on Telegram, on our Aleph.im group on Telegram, on Twitter, on the Aleph.im account as well. That's the main places, and on our website as well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for the time, and I hope you have a great rest of your ETHCC.
Same for you. Thank you very, 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 very much, Andy.
Yes, sir. Cheers.